Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining Pro Surf Blog today for some epic surf news. Today I'm interviewing Levi Cooke, and Levi Cooke has been developing some surf wax, which we'll get into. But for now, how's it going, Levi?
Doing well, man. Just doing my thing. How about you, bro?
Oh, doing pretty good this week,
Yes, sir. That's good to hear.
Yeah, you gotta stay adaptable in this world, right? Just like in surfing.
Absolutely, bro.
So yeah, let's jump into the wax. What I want to do is share this right here to the camera.
Hey,
One of
at the
the
bar.
versions, I actually have two versions. The other one was definitely more in the dev stage, but it was, surf wax. Um, so I'm gonna pull some out here, kind of. So he's got this going on here. As I'm feeling it here too, I can feel the tackiness of it,
Yeah,
which is uh, a good aspect to have. Um, So, do you have a background in science, or you've put time into wax, or is this something that you just completely picked up off, off your desire?
I just picked it up, man. I remember one day before school, um, I was talking to my parents about like my future and stuff as a marketer,
Mm-hmm.
and we all came up with the idea, like with because I've been surfing a ton. I've been investing a bunch of time into just surfing and not really doing much else other than
Let's
lifting weights,
join
obviously, and doing
join the
school.
club.
Yeah, dude. So they're like, well, I'm like, I don't really know what I want to do specifically for like a career, but I have a lot of passion and a lot of interest. And they're like, why don't you make surf wax? How hard could that be? I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I'm like, I actually really like that idea. And they're like, yeah, you could sell it. You could work on e-commerce, sell at farmers markets. There's a lot you could do with that. I'm like, okay, that sounds like tons of fun, and it sounds like something I can kind of build towards, and
Yeah.
something I just really wanted to do. So I just spent a bunch of time like developing the surf wax. I've been doing that for the majority of the time. Developing the business is making sure the wax is up to performance standard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so I want to thank them especially for helping me like every step of the way.
Cool.
Give helping me with the idea and everything. But
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. And so I noticed like you came out with, your first kind of wax, and then it looks like maybe you've kind of started to diversify your offering there in a sense of the wax. So I don't know if that's warm water, cold water, or maybe you could tell us a little bit about how that came about.
yeah, of course. So I've got a base coat, a cold water, and a warm water. They all do different things, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it pretty much just ranges from density and stickiness. So
Mm-hmm.
the base coat is the most dense and not as sticky as, say, the cold water, because its purpose is to just make bumps on the board,
Mm-hmm.
rather than be insanely sticky for like a as a top coat. And then the
Right.
warm water is a little bit softer with about the same amount of stick, something you can apply a lot, and it's got
Mm-hmm.
some stick in it, so you can obviously stick to the board. And then for the cold water, it's the least dense. It's actually pretty soft
Okay.
because when the wax touches the water, the super cold water, it brittles up,
Right.
and
Okay.
it's got a bunch of more sticky stuff in it. So it can when it brittles up, it can still stay sticky instead of like
Mm.
freezing up and breaking off. You know.
Yeah.
Mm.
That sounds pretty cool. I've been using a lot of, well, I should probably thank all the hipsters out there, but I've been using a lot more base coat, um, not just on the base, but sometimes as a top layer, because sometimes that's all I have. Like lately, whatever reason, that's all I have. And I'm just kind of like crossing my fingers that somehow that's going to help improve my style, just because I see guys, anytime I'm in the parking lot and, somebody who doesn't have a leash, who has a styled out board and they don't have wax and they hit you up, they'll always kind of throw out there like, oh, do you have any base coat? Like that's what they want. I'm like, what? Okay, like base coat.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty funky. It's definitely totally usable. Wax is wax. But like if it's a good question, actually, I think. I wonder if these like shortboarders are using a ton of base coat and stuff too, because all you got to do is cake the board and wax, but once
Hmm.
it kind of freezes up or breaks off, like you won't really have any stick. Your feet won't really stick to anything.
Okay, yeah.
So it's totally usable though. You can just cake your board and base coat,
Hmm.
and like it's at the end of the day, it's wax, so it's gonna repel water no matter what.
Right. Okay.
Um, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a you can pretty much like whatever works best for you, you can go ahead and do it, you know.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of you dipped into well, I noticed that you had some boxes, some logos, some these satchels. So I see you kind of been, taking it, doing the R&D, right? Like making the wax, using the wax yourself, I see. And then you got to the packaging and obviously the social media marketing, things like that. And then I think you touched on it a minute ago, which was I was going to bring up distribution. So um, are you like, is that like the next step, or are you already engaging in distribution? Like, where are you at in this whole process?
It's been a long time coming, but I'm right there to being able to sell at farmers markets. So that's what I'm gunning towards right now. I'm getting my booth all set up. I ordered a bunch of stickers. I'm making my wax in bulk
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
And decorations, you
Hmm.
know, marketing, all that.
Yeah.
And then I'll open up and I'll try to build some capital so I can be able to make improvements and everything like that. So I can start. And then
Hmm.
after I get the farmers market rolling, I want to be able to sell on the internet, off of
Right.
my website or Etsy.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and then end goal, I would love to be able to like drop cases off at surf shops and they can,
Hmm.
resell my wax.
I've seen a lot of surf shops and sometimes even like coffee shops down by the beach who will carry, a box or two of wax because people come in and they need it. I think it's super common to need wax and the surf shop's closed. And so when you have a place like a coffee shop or something that has wax, you're like, yes, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then I got to interrupt that a little bit because Obey Ray chimed in. He said, this guy's the man right here. So right on. I'm glad I got the man on the show today.
Yes, sir.
Ray.
Love you, Ray Ray. Thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in, my dog.
You. Uh, So okay, so I see where you're at then. So you're definitely moving on this thing, and you're developing kind of your whole. It's almost like a live or a working business plan, right? That you're kind of implementing. Um, so when you said farmers market, was there a particular farmers market that you were going to start at?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend went last Saturday. We went to Cardiff to go scope it out,
Okay.
and it looks like a great place to start because there's lots of people, but it's definitely like very populated, but it's not the biggest one. It's not Lucadia, it's not Oceanside.
Hmm.
It'd be great to start there, transition into the other ones, and eventually sell at all of them. I'd love to do that and make it like an almost full time thing. Sell a bunch of surf wax in markets, and then
Hmm.
see where I want to go from there.
Yeah, I don't know what the timing works out with, like, and when your product comes in and stuff, but you you might be able to poach, maybe not get a booth, or maybe you could, but I would say is at Camp Shred. If you just like, I don't know if you've been to Camp Shred before over in Encinitas, it's at the campground basically, in goes, all the way down to close to the Cardiff area you're talking about.
Interesting.
But it's actually in the campground. So they put a bunch of booths and they put bands, and it's actually a really cool festival to go to. So I try to get down there. It's a little bit of a trek from here, but if there's one kind of like surf expo outdoor thing to go to, I would definitely go there. You could probably roll around with a backpack and just like incognito, dole some out, maybe even dole some out to some of the booth people. I don't, ones that might make sense. But yeah, Camp Shut, I got to give a shout out to that. Scott Desiderio, rest in peace. He used to help put that whole thing together, and yeah, it's a really cool event. So, and then so the last thing I think you also again touched on was the marketing part. And so like merch, you were talking about maybe doing some merch someday or something like that. What are your visions on some of the merch ideas?
Yeah, let me show you real quick. I got one on right now.
Okay, all right.
Yep. My girlfriend got this for me for Christmas. So I got a
Hmm.
t-shirt and a jacket because she's always
Word.
known I've wanted to make merch for a long time.
Hmm.
But like, I wasn't just gonna make a couple. So she did it for me, and then we
Hmm.
get to see how it is in person and all that. So this is
Hmm.
really cool. I like to be able
Yeah.
to make this more, and I've got a bunch of other ideas too. I've got some.
Cool.
I'm gonna when I open up at farmers markets, I'm gonna advertise them on like a little flyer. Merch coming soon. It's got my ideas on there. So big old
Cool.
logo in the middle, logo on the
Nice.
back. I got a couple different logos. Um, so yeah, I would love to be able to do that. That's one of my dreams is to be able to
Yeah.
sell like cool stylish clothes about my brand.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a great thing there. So yeah, so that's like man, a full wraparound. Thanks for sharing all this about your kind of endeavor there in business and with surfing, which is cool to bring those two things together. Um, so well, I'm going to do some announcements here and give Levi a chance to throw out some shout outs. Obviously, Ray and Chow, we got to give them a
Yes,
little
sir.
salute.
Shout out
Yeah.
my boys.
You. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, it was a great honor to have you on, Levi, today too. Just to let you know, and yeah, thanks to Rick out there for kind of connecting the dots here and kind of giving us something cool to talk about and just learning. I'm always learning and stoked to see people kind of innovating in the space of surfing. So, Levi, who's going to get the shouts today?
Great question, man. I got them right here, dude. First, I wanted to shout out my family first and foremost.
All right.
My dad, he he's amazing for like being able to connect me with you guys. He met Rick and all those dudes, and Rick is all his friends and you, man. And
Yeah.
you guys just want to support me, and I'm endlessly grateful for that. It's such an awesome experience. I want to shout out my mom for being the uh making up all the ideas on the forefront. She's always
Cool.
bursting with ideas. She's definitely like a natural born marketer. She's always giving me ideas and stuff. Super awesome. She loves the idea. And I want to shout out my brother for helping me with the website, building it for the most part. He's a career software engineer, so
Oh,
he uh
cool.
he has the ability to be able to do all that stuff. And last but not least, shout out to Rick for helping me with all this. He's been my number one fan for through like most of this, most of my entire journey. So
Right on, Rick. Yeah, that's super awesome. Yeah, well, that was really cool, man. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you, and I'm going to keep following your journey and keep me in the loop. Reach out here and there when you can, and let me know, when you have new developments happening or new things you're embarking on with your wax or anything else in surfing as well. And I hope to have you back on as a returning guest at some point. It'd be really awesome.
yeah, of course, man, that would be amazing. You guys are gonna make sure to get plenty of wax for me, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah, we're excited. So everybody DM them, man. Start hitting them up. Put the pressure on them. See if we
Time to start shoveling it out, man.
yeah, for sure. I want to
Get your
borrow wax.
wax.
When I see you in the parking lot, I'm gonna be trying to borrow wax for sure, bro.
Yo, can I get some wax?
Yeah, that base coat, that good stuff,
Yeah,
right?
I just get the base coat though.
Yeah, right
Thank
on,
you so much for
Levi.
the opportunity, man.
Yeah, for sure. You have a good time, everybody. Thanks again so much, everybody. That was epic. So.